Right, hello there guys, welcome to my YouTube channel side of things. So in this video I'm going to be going through a T5.1 stroke T6 that we've got in our unit. So it's one of our own vans. Now I'm just going to go through what we do when we tune different cars. Obviously I'm going to start with a van because it's easy to get hold of. It's not quite as complicated as the M2 and things like that, so let's start with that one. So we read the van. We read the van with tools such as CMD and things like that. I'll go into them into another video. So this one's just going to be the tuning side. What do we do when we look at tuning one of these EDC17 ECUs? So let's grab the read, bang it into Winulls. Now Winulls is the software we're going to be using to tune this car with, or this van with. It's the software I use every day. It's quite common in the tuning scene to be using. So I'm just going to go through. Obviously, I've done this one before. So I'm just going to go through. I'm going to start this from scratch. So you've got your checksums, you've got your info about your ECU, and you've got all the bits that you fill in for your own database. If you want to learn more about this, I do have a training website on thetuningworkshop.com. So I'm just going to put in the quick details in there. Okay, so this is what tuners call a file. Now the file is on the ECU, it's in binary. It's what the ECU uses to control the engine functions and everything else to do with the engine. So when we tune in these, what we do is we have to pick out different maps that control different parts of the vehicle. So like here, you get to learn what they look like in 2D. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick out all the maps I'm going to need to tune this van and show you, and then later on in the week I'm going to get on the dyno and then we're actually going to tune it and show you what power it makes. So this is just a basic go over. So first of all, we've got a few drivers wish. This one's done by speed. It's got speed and it's got Newton meter record. It's like a torque monitoring map. So this is actually Newton meters, because these ECUs, they basically request a limit for Newton meters and then they convert those Newton meters into milligrams of fuel to control the air side of it. So this is a torque monetary driver's wish table kind of thing. So first of all, we've got that one. So what I do is I start a notepad up. Don't want to start K-tag up. I start a notepad up. Wait for this to go. That's one of the tuning softwares we use. I don't want that open right now, but okay. So what I'm going to do is just go through, and what I do is I label the highest points. So I have, say, 438, 450. Judging by that, I'll be around here kind of thing. I'd say about 450, 420. I'll say 420 and leave it there. Get rid of that. Driver's wish, torque monitoring, 420 newton meters. I'll go back into that one later on. So let's continue. So this is what your tuner's doing every time he looks at your vehicle, if it's not one he's done before. Now this is just a basic one. There's a lot more maps that I've gone past already that you need when you're getting a bit more technical into these things. So here we have the driver's wish tables. Now they haven't been defined, so again your tuner would have to define these tables with the car and the dyno, which is kind of why the old 2-hour remap is never a custom one, because there's so much to it. So if I just, looks like I'm there, I'll check that. Let's check this. So I've got 8 by 10, 8 by 10, 13. Oh, fine, I got a 14 by 8, it looks like. What am I doing? 13 by 8. Looks like I've got another line to capture. Yeah, I have. Get rid of that a minute. Let's get it properly. It's actually another line. I need to go that far. To there. Go into that. That's it. 14 by 8. 8 by 13. Should be 14. Oh well, yeah. Okay. Well, I'll leave it here for now. So we've got driver's wish. Map 1. 0.01 because in Newton meters. This up here is in percent. This one here is in RPM. So what this basically is a map which determines, well, it's the start of it all, because when you're in your van, car, stroke, anything else, you've got your pedal. Now when you hit that pedal, depends on what's going to happen after that, because there's a monetary which measures how hard you're pressing that pedal, so anything between 0 and 100%, and then you've got an RPM to make it a table. So when you touch your pedal and you're cruising at 50%, there's actually a table which tells the ECU what torque to give you at that point. So this is the very start of the table. So 2000. Now what I do on this, because they have a certain power band, you can kind of like see. I mean, even though that's asking for 530 Newton meters at 600 RPM, you're not going to see that. So you can ignore a lot of this table because you're not even going to see it. So if I go from 2000 RPM to 3000 RPM, it's going to be a torque band. So I'll take the highest point of that, which is 429. So if I go into my driver's wish, so driver's wish maps, we have 429 Newton meters. Now this will all make sense as we start getting into the whole mapping process. So if I just make the last few of these, that makes more sense now. Yep. If I just create the last few of these, so I can carry on. Follow along if you want. So driver's wish 2. This will be in gears. So this will be second gear. 0.1 for Newton meters. Unit Newton meters. Done. Percent. Done. RPM. What the offsets do is basically make it so it's usable for us. Again, I've got 0.1. So Newton meters, same point, 429. Next one. Probably that one. There and there, done. Again, driver's wish. Third gear. 0.1. Unit to Newton meters. Done. Percent. Pedal. And then you've got RPM. Another table. Back up one. Can't remember what gear we got to. I'll fill that in a minute. 0.1. I think it's fourth. Go with 4. Zero 0.5. Again, 429. So we've got first, second, third, fourth. The fifth gear van. It's first to second, third to fourth, fourth to fifth, fifth to sixth, first to second. Then we should have a 4-wheel drive map, which is this one, which we don't need, but I'll still create it. 0.1. Driver's wish. Looks like all-wheel drive. The Newton meters. We got percent. And we've got RPM. And then we've got reverse, which I'll ignore for now. Right, so we've got our driver's wish tables. And we've got our driver's wish limit. So we know we're at driver's wish, 429 meters. So the next thing we want to look for is the torque limit table. It should be just down here. There are other tables which we're going to need, but this is just a general guideline on what we do. Now, you get two of the, you'll come to learn these tables. These are Newton meter conversion tables, but they're actually part of the DPF system, so we always ignore the first two. So I'll go past those. Here we go. So what we're looking for is these bumps. These bumps are the torque request. So it's the torque limit tables based on atmospheric pressure. So here you've got atmospheric pressure. So this is where it caps you for different pressures in the ozone. And we've got again Newton meters, 0.1. And on the top we have RPM. Okay, so now we've got, so about the same point, we've got say 300 Newton meters. So torque map, it's 298 to be specific. Newton meters. Quite a simple one. Now we'll just build the rest of these out. Newton meters, torque request. .5 for RPM, and then we've got atmospheric on the side. Same again. It's like a cap more than a request. 0.1 for Newton meters. Again on the top, 0.5 unit RPM. And the atmospheric. These are just repeated. They're all conditional based. A lot of this ECU is conditional based. So depending on where you are in the world, how high you are, all these kind of things go into the and also DPF state. So if you're in regen mode, there'll be different maps for that too. Obviously, we don't want to be tuning those. I'm just going to give you the idea of what we do to tune these cars and what tuning is really about. So when people say obviously custom maps and things like that, it kind of gives you an idea what actually is a custom tune. So I'll take the table down. I did. Right, so we've got one more table to find. Actually, no, we don't. Yeah, we do. Boost tables. I'll do the fueling first, then we'll go back to the boost and have a look at those. Kind of makes more sense. Now these two here are your Newton meter conversion tables. Because what's basically happening is the ECU takes away or takes what you want from your van, and then it converts it into fuel. That's these tables. So these are in milligrams, so milligrams of fuel. And this is what we call the Newton meter conversion table. So where it turns it from Newton meters, which is the top of the axis. So axes are very important. So Newton meters, which is 0.1. And then we hit again, we have RPM at 0.5. So what this basically does is the ECU, you touch the pedal, okay, the ECU chucks out a number. So at that point, at 100% throttle at 2000 RPM, I'm going to give you 429 Newton meters. What happens then is that the ECU then looks at the next map and goes, oh, hang on, at this HPA, I can only give you, at this HPA and this RPM, I can only give you 298 Newton meters. So straight away you go from 429 to 300 Newton meters because the ECU will always use the lowest point. So straight away you've dropped a good, 100 Newton meters. So 300 Newton meters is the number that goes into the conversion table. So it looks at this table, it goes, okay, well, 300 Newton meters is here. I'm only going to give you that much fuel. Okay, that makes sense, hopefully. So I'm only going to give you that much fuel. Now what happens now is that fuel, so if I now look at this table and say 2000 RPM, I've got 45 milligrams because you'll come like this, so you won't see 56, 52, 52. So I'm going to say 2000, I'm going to give you 45 milligrams of fuel. So fueling, Newton meter conversion, 300 Newton meters equals 45 milligrams. That's all it's going to give you. It raises at the end, but again, you'll see yourself taper off with the power. Right, so straight away we're down to 45 milligrams of fuel. So then now the table now turns that fuel into the boost tables. So let me just find the last table we need, which is the smoke table, which is here. So this is done by boost. So we have boost across the top. This is your air. So bar across the top 1.2. We've got milligrams in the middle. This is the smoke map. This is what the ECU uses to judge by what boost you're doing to what air to what fuel should be injected. Now we are at 45 milligrams, so we would see, well, we need to see what boost we're running first, so we'll keep that one open. Okay, now let's have a look at the boost tables. Now we know what fuel we're going to be injecting. We can see on the axis of the boost tables where that's going to be. Now let's have a flick through these boost tables. 60 milligrams, 60 milligrams. We've got 3, and there should be a limiter. There we go. And there's your limiter, which is done by atmospheric pressure. So this is your boost limit. So you can't go over this limit based on atmospheric pressure like the air bar. So we in England would be around 900 to 1000, so we would use this part of the table. So that's saying we can have up to 1.55 bar. But how much are we actually adding? So if I go back to these first tables, which are the tables we're going to need. So this is your boost request table. So everything in the ECU is done by requests. Okay. So this is your boost request table. So what requested, and it's done by fuel. So this is where the tables work together. So I'm allowed up to 60 milligrams, but I'm only going to get 45 milligrams. So then you look on this table and you say, well, how much boost am I going to get to 45 milligrams? So what you're going to get is 1.3 bar, 1.28 bar. It isn't a lot, really. So even though a lot of tuners will come into this and go, oh well, I've got 1.3 bar, I'm going to raise these 2 tables. If I come into this table now and I raise these 2 and didn't do much else of anything else, I ain't going to see that because I'm only getting 45 milligrams. I'm sitting here. I'm only using this part of the table. Now I've still got all these open to me, which is great for us as tuners because we can look at that and go, right, well, manufacturer said I can have up to 1.36 bar. I'm only running at 1.28, so let's see what power I can make by going from there to there, you know? So that is where the tuning starts coming in. So I've only got 45 milligrams, so boost equals 45 milligrams at, which gives us, from the app button, lost it, here we go, at 1.28 bar, 1.28 bar. Now this is a smaller version, it's not the 102 band, so they're all moduled. This is where we say about modules. So basically they've VW chucked out a load of vans, different power levels, all with the same engine hardware, bar the gearbox. This is a 5-speed, this is a 6-speed. So bar the gearbox, they're all chucked out the same kind of power. Reduced power but same engine. So this is where we go in and we can find out where the manufacturer has capped our power. Now, judging by this, I mean, it's quite obvious where they capped our power, and they capped it in the torque map. So obviously, if we change that torque map to somewhere around there, we should get more fuel, which is going to release more air. So by rights, I only have to change that one table to make everything else sing and dance. Which is what I tend to do on these, is what I'm going to show you on the dyno. So basically, if I come into this now and I say, what driver's wish torque monitoring is 420 meters, newton meters. So then if I set the driver's wish to 420 newton meters stock. In fact, let's see what we've got. If I go back to the conversion tables, I think it's this way. Just open it up. If I go to the newton meter conversion table, and I look at this, I go, right, yeah, well, I can have up to 420 newton meters without changing any of this map. So I don't have to recalibrate anything. I can take it from here to here without having to obviously work out what these numbers are. So I can go up to 420 newton meters. So I say, right, I can get to highest is 420 newton meters. So I want to sit in that as long as possible. So what does 420 newton meters give me in fuel? It gives me 65 milligrams, which equals 65 milligrams, which is great. Like that's a good 20 milligram difference, which is where the power is going to come in. So I want to raise the fuel to allow me to have the same as the higher output engine. So what I do is I start the start. You got your torque limit table by speed. I always want to make sure I'm above that, or this is above anything I'm going to request. So I'm just going to raise that to 450 to get rid of it. So that's going to be, let's get rid of that one. That's going to be higher than my number that I want. So let's raise that. That's just like a torque monitoring. It can cause issues if you don't keep it above all your other tables. So next I'm going to look at obviously the driver's wish tables. Anywhere here. There we go. Should jump out. So I'm going to come into these driver's wish tables. Now I want 420 newton meters. So if this drops, this is where you see the table drop. So I'm going to say from 2,500 RPM, I want 420 newton meters. So quite a basic change. You can do it in gears. You can do it in all gears. You can do it how you want, pretty much. They take this quite well. So I'm going to raise this above, well, to my maximum limit that I want to run to, just to make sure it's out of the way. I don't think I need to do one, but obviously I'll leave reverse alone. So I've now raised all of my tables to 420 newton meters, so I can hit. So I'm going to call that 420 newton meter flat. So that doesn't taper off, doesn't become my lowest. So now I need to look at my torque map. Flick through. Here we go. So these are my torque limits. So again, I want to raise to get to 420 newton meters, because in a minute this is the map that's killing me. This is the map that I'm suffering with. So if I raise these here to, if I go from here 420 and then blend it in, it should give me a nice blend. Yeah, that'll do. So if I just raise these tables here and copy that over to all the other tables, as such. So now I've taken my torque limit 4,000, and then raise. There's a little torque limit table just here. Oh, just don't want to change that one, but just take that to 420. Okay, it's not defined, so it's 4200. Let's get rid of that one. But just make sure I've got enough. Right, so now I've gone to torque limit is now 420 newton meters. So I've released that extra power. So what happens now? So driver's wish is torque. So torque maps are now 420 newton meters from 300. So what happens now to everything else? So we've raised all our fuel in. So now when we go to the conversion maps, we're going to hit with a high number. So if we go back to that torque conversion map, boost. There we go. Just move past it. So on here now, it's two here. These two. So now I've gone from here, where I was before, to here without actually changing any of the fuel maps, just because I'm changing the conversion maps. So I'm now sitting across this line here. So I'm adding. So newton meter conversion map is now at 420 newton meters, which is 65 milligrams of fuel. So now the ECU is going to obviously request 64 to 65 milligrams of fuel. think it's the same in this one too. Oh, this one's actually higher. This is Newton meters, 0.1, and this one is in RPM. Okay, so maximum there 46, maximum here actually jumping up to 73 on this conversion table. So we'll go by that one, even though it's the lowest, and the other one we'll log it to see which one it's actually running in. 74 milligrams in the second table. So what we'll do, we'll log it and see which one we're actually running on. So anyway, so you've got a Newton meter conversion table. So I'm going to go by the lowest number, which is 65 milligrams, because all the ECUs basically run off the lowest table. So we've got more fuel now. So where does that leave us with the boost? So if I go back to these boost tables, do I have to touch these boost tables? I don't think I do. So we've gone from 45 milligrams at 128 up to 65 milligrams, so just off this table at 136. So we're gaining a good 102 millibar, somewhere around 120 millibar. So we're raising the boost by 120 millibar without actually raising any boost tables. So the boost is now 60 milligram at 1.36 bar. All we've done is moved on 2 tables, and we're now making more boost. And our boost limit is at 1.5 miles away. Not going to touch that. That's fine. So that, judging by that, I mean, I should be around what, 20% more power just by moving those couple of tables. So what we're going to do in the next video is I'm going to load the car or the van onto the dyno. We're going to log it stock so I can show you what these tables actually mean when we're logging it. Everything else we need to look at, like EGT and such forth, just to get a grasp of where we are with the tune. And then I'm going to load this tune on. So with just these few little 3 map changes, we're going to load this on, and then we're going to see the difference between the two without really going into much and changing any fueling or anything else. All we're doing is changing the way that the ECU is limiting. So over the next video then, please like and subscribe if you want to carry on continuing with these videos. We're going to be doing all sorts of stuff with different cars. Obviously it's not all going to be like this either. There's going to be a lot of one-to-one with on the dyno and things like that. So if you actually want to see what actually goes on with tuning and how we tune stuff, give you a bit more of an idea, because the amount of stuff you see online is it's a bit bewildering. So if you want to obviously go into this and actually gather a bit more understanding behind what we do, it's not just going to be diesels, mainly going to be petrols, then please like, subscribe and follow for any video I upload, and I'll see you over the next video.